Is tomorrow a trap game for Syracuse? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome, everyone. Jackson Holzer here on another episode of Locked On Syracuse. Today's episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Check them all out today at nissanusa.com. All right. Syracuse has a game tomorrow. They go on the road and they take on Louisville. Should be a slam dunk win, right? That should be an easy one. I should be going here on Monday, holding out the cup again. Still have the cup here. But this is a trap. This is a classic trap. Louisville doesn't have much to play for. They really don't, other than pride. They can't make the NCAA tournament unless they somehow go on a miracle run in the ACC. But I don't think any of us think that's going to happen. I'm just kind of uneasy about this because, A, they played this year, and it was 94-92 Syracuse. It was a nail-biter. It was just a few weeks ago. And I know that Louisville's record isn't good. I know that they're actually terrible record-wise. And they have a really bad head coach in Kenny Payne. And the reason why I know that they have a really bad coach is because this team has talent. This team has good talent. They have 5 players who average in double figures. Brandon Huntley-Hatfield's a former 5-star. They got talent on this team. And like I said, they played against each other just a few weeks ago. And I think we're all kind of or I'm at least uneasy about it because we're starting to kind of creep closer back into the tournament line. And we know that if Syracuse loses this game, there's really no coming back from it. You can't lose this game. Louisville is 2-10 in the net right now as it sits. 2-10. For context, remember, I think it was last week where I said that Notre Dame, they couldn't help themselves if they win by 100 or lose or whatever. I think I said something along the lines of they could beat Notre Dame by 100 and it doesn't matter, but if they lose, it's a death nail. Well, amplify that by much, much more with Louisville. You cannot lose on the road to this team. You can't do it. I understand it's on the road, but if you want to be a tournament team, you cannot lose to Louisville. It is a classic trap game on the schedule because we all know what is coming up next. We all know what's coming up next, and that's a road date with Clemson and the prodigal son, Joe Girard. We all know that that is the game that could really, really impact Syracuse's standing to make the NCAA tournament. It's right there. We know that that is the game where they can significantly improve their net, which is a whole different discussion. The net, right? Syracuse can't really gain much ground from Louisville. They can't really do it. Yes, they can blow them out by 20. They can blow them out by 20. And it won't really do much. They can win by 1, and people might be like, well, they only beat Louisville by 1. A combined 3 points all year. And then beat Clemson, and all is forgiven. But if they lose this game, If they lose on Saturday, we can forget tournament talk. They would have to win the ACC outright. Let's just be honest. You can't lose to Louisville if you want to make the tournament. That's just a really, really, really bad loss at this time. And happy March, by the way. Forgot to mention that it's March 1st. It's March. This is March. This is the time where weird stuff happens. Weird stuff can happen here. And I'm just feeling a little bit uneasy about this game. I'm just feeling a little bit uneasy. I think Syracuse is going to win. Don't get me wrong. There's no metric that suggests that Louisville should win. They are not good as a team. They got talent, which is what scares me. Syracuse is just going to have to find a way to win this one. I don't know how else to tell it. They just have to buckle down, go to Louisville, and win a basketball game. Go to Louisville and win a basketball game. I don't care if it's by 100. I don't care if it's by 1. I don't care if they trail by 20 and win. I don't care if they lead by 20 and nearly blow it. I do not care. It does not matter to me. And it shouldn't matter to you. It doesn't matter. We're talking about how this team should make the tournament, and they nearly blew a 29-point lead to Notre Dame. It does not matter how they win against Louisville. They just have to win because Clemson is the game where they can really make up ground. This is all about just survive and advance in this one. Just survive and advance. Just give us a chance to have a little bit of hope. That's really what we're asking for here. You can't lose this game. They have talent. Don't get me wrong. They have talent. 5 players who average at least 10 points. 5. That's a pretty good number. But they're poorly coached. Kenny Payne is a walking duck at this point. You just got to find a way to beat Louisville on the road. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to say it. You just have to beat Louisville on the road. Beat Louisville on the road. It ain't that hard. It's freaking Louisville. This ain't 2013. This ain't, 2014, whatever. Pick a year of Louisville in the mid-2010s. It is 2024. It's 2024. Louisville is 8-20 on the season, 3-14 in the ACC. You have to win this game. You have to win this game. And then we can really, really, really start talking about, well, what happens if they beat Clemson? This is step 2. This is step 2. Remember, I outlined a few episodes ago how they need to beat Virginia Tech. They need to beat Louisville. They need to then beat Clemson and probably 2 ACC games to be safely in the tournament. Safely in. Not, we're going to have to be nervous on Selection Sunday. I mean, like, safely in. Like, they're not getting left out at that point. Well, this is step 2. And this should be a gimme game. This should be an easy one. But if you lose the easy one, you can throw out the rest of the 3 steps. Truly, you can. It's kind of weird how the season, I feel like it hinges on beating Louisville. But that's where we're at right now. Now, coming up, we're going to stay talking about basketball. But how about 2024, 2025? How about the next season? We'll be back after this. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive Google built-in is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder, has room up to 8 in expansive cargo capacity and advanced available 4x4 capability. With 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds towing, when adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and it's now also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Okay, so Jackson Holzer here on Locked On Syracuse. We just talked about how Louisville might be a trap game for the Orange tomorrow. We will shift gears to talking about next year's schedule because the ACC released the opponents for Syracuse. They released the opponents. We do not know exactly when they'll play these teams, but we do know whether they're going to be home or on the road. And the big takeaway that I had from this is no UNC, no Duke, and no Virginia on the road next year. That is a gift. That is a gift from the schedule makers. That's a gift. Are you kidding me? They don't have to go to Duke. They don't have to go to Carolina, and they don't have to go to Virginia. So the three best teams in the ACC, give or take, every single year, they don't have to go on the road. They get them all at home. The toughest games at home. That's important because let's just be honest. When you open up the schedule and you see North Carolina on the road and you see Duke on the road and maybe to a lesser extent Virginia, they're a little bit less consistent than those other teams. You're thinking it's probably a loss, right? You're thinking it's probably a loss. Well, now they're at home. And we saw what happened when Syracuse played North Carolina in the Dome. That's my big takeaway from this. You get Duke, you get Carolina, and you get Virginia all at home next season. That's great. Love it. What else was important from it? They get Pitt in a home and home, right? They got Pitt. That's okay. You can deal with that. They had that this year and they went 2-0. They got Notre Dame home and home. That's solid. We'll take that. And they got Boston College home and home. So they got great home and home teams to play against because Boston College is not usually very good. Notre Dame's not usually very good. And Pitt, it's Pitt, right? So that's 6 games right there. Syracuse should at minimum go 4-2 in those games. Probably 5-1 at minimum in the home and home with those 3 teams. And you get Duke, Carolina, Virginia, all at home. You don't have to go on the road. Unbelievable. Thank you, schedule makers. Thank you. Now, I saw some people complaining about the schedule, complaining about this. They were saying they got to go to California. They got to go to Stanford. They got to do both. Guys, let me let you in on a little secret about how travel works in 2024. There are airplanes. If you didn't hear me, I'll say it again. There are airplanes. They got to go to California. The people crying about this are making it seem like they're going to have to take horse and buggy to California. They're going to have to walk it. They're going to have to drive it. Folks, this is 2024. There are airplanes. It's about a 6-hour flight to California. Oh, but the travel. They got to go to California twice. How is that fair? The travel. How is that fair? Are you kidding me? How is that fair? Who cares? They don't have to play Duke, North Carolina, or Virginia on the road next season. What more can you ask for? Oh, they got to go to California. Boo-hoo. Deal with it. That's the world we're living in right now. We got California teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Yes, the Atlantic Coast Conference. For those that need a geography lesson, California is by the Pacific Ocean, not the Atlantic Ocean. But stop complaining for those that are. And you know who you are. Oh, they got to go to California twice. So what? So what? Deal with it. Grow up. You got to take an airplane to California. Boo-hoo. There are worse things in the world. Oh, the time difference. It's a 3-hour time difference. Suck it up. And I'm not saying the players are or the coaches are complaining. You know who you are who's complaining. I was looking on Twitter, and I saw people who actually had a problem with it. Credible people, too. They know who they are. You don't want to go to California? Tough luck. The best thing about this schedule is their home and home opponents are pretty easy. You got Pitt, Boston College, and Notre Dame. That's pretty easy. And you don't have to go to Duke, Virginia Tech, you don't have to go to Duke, Virginia, or North Carolina on the road next season. I will take that trade any single day. I don't care that they have to go to California twice. I do not care. It doesn't matter. Who cares? We are in 2024. We have airplanes. It takes 6 hours to get from Syracuse to California. We're not going to the moon here. We're going to California. Deal with it. It's not a competitive disadvantage. What is a competitive disadvantage is something that broke in Syracuse's favor, that they don't have to go to Duke, Carolina, or Virginia next season. They get them all at home. Now that's an advantage. That's pretty favorable. I think we should all be happy about that. We should all be happy about the home and home, and we should just suck it up and deal with the fact that they got to go to California multiple times. Oh, I got to go to California multiple times. And by the way, it's a rotation. You think they're going to do this every single year? Right? In 2025, 2026, you think they're going to get Duke, Carolina, and Virginia all at home, not on the road? No. You know they're going on the road. It's going to happen. But see, it's a rotation, and that's how the schedule was made. And this is how it broke this year. And maybe next year, Syracuse isn't going to have to go to California twice. Maybe they won't. Maybe they will. I do not know how it's made. I do not care how it is made. I just look at what the finished product is, and I say, you know what? You got to play them anyway. Who cares? Wah. You got to board a flight to California 2 times. Oh no. There are worse things in the world to deal with. So that's my rant about the schedule. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I think for the most part, people are going to agree with me on it, though. I think you guys should. And if you guys disagree with me and you think that it's totally unfair how it broke, I mean, let me know. Feel free to let me know as I'm pulling up the poll that I am using for Poll Friday. So forgive me, I have to pull it up because, I lose it. I had it pulled up. Here, I got it now. I got it. When we come back, it's time for Poll Friday. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. And hey, all I'm saying is, look, if you believe in what head coach Fran Brown is doing with Syracuse football, you can go on FanDuel and bet the Orange, hear me out, to win the ACC. Right now, the odds are at plus 4,200. Get in while you can. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. We wrap up here on this lovely Friday here in Syracuse. The Orange have a game tomorrow against Louisville, and man, oh man, they have to win that one. And we talked about that. We talked about the 2024-2025 ACC schedule, just an early look at it. And now it's time for Poll Friday here on Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. The poll today is which Syracuse team is the greatest of all time? Now, I had some criteria for this, and that's the team had to win the national championship. If the team didn't win the national championship, you are not one of the greatest teams ever. You're not. You got to win the national championship. And I'm going to get to it in a moment, but the nominees were 2003 men's basketball, 1988 men's lacrosse, 1959 football, and other. And the winner, there were 250 votes, and the winner with 56% of the votes. So I'm going to guess that's about 131 in the 130, 140 out of 250. With 56% of the votes, 2003 men's basketball is the greatest Syracuse team of all time. Listen, I love that team. And they are immortalized forever, especially because they're the only one. But I'm not so sure I agree with it. Now, I did see some people in the Twitter comments when I ran the poll saying the 2009-2010 men's basketball team was better than the 03 team. But again, whether they're better or not, the 2010 team did not win the national championship. So I don't want to have that discussion here. We're talking about teams that have actually won the national title. But I think it's Syracuse football in 1959. And I know it's weird. But that team went 11-0. It's the only perfect season in Syracuse football history. Now, in 1987, the team went undefeated, but they had a tie. 1959, they were perfect. They were a perfect 11-0. They had 5 shutouts. And you can go look up their point differential, but it was mind-boggling. That team was incredible. Ernie Davis was in the backfield, coached by Ben Schwartzwalder. I think that that's the greatest team in Syracuse history. But that's just me. So I disagree with the public on this one. I think that the nostalgia of the 03 team certainly helped it. It's fairly recent. It's 21 years ago. 59, I mean, there aren't a lot of people here who have experience who remember that 59 team, right? And basketball, for the most part, has a lot more prestige than football here in Syracuse. So I understand why it got 56% of the vote and why the men's basketball team, why 03 was the winner. But I think it's the 59 football team. That's just me. We can debate it, but I'm going to say it's 59 football. I disagree with the public on this one. Sometimes I'm going to agree with what the public says in these polls, and sometimes I'm going to say, I'm going to disagree. 59 football, by the way, got 22% of the vote, so they were second. But I think they should have gotten a lot more. I think they should have won this poll. Not a big deal, though. It's just a fun It's just a fun exercise to see what people think. I happen to disagree with the general public on it, but that's okay. We're not always going to agree on everything. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, for watching, for putting up for my rants. This is the end of week 2 here of the new era of Locked On Syracuse. And we had a guest on Thursday. I hope everyone enjoyed that episode. Seems like they did. Seems like you guys did. Really appreciate all the support. Only getting better from here, and let's just hope that Syracuse wins on Saturday, because I will not be a happy camper on Monday if this team loses. I think I said that last Friday for the Notre Dame game, but I won't be happy again if this team loses. But if they win, I don't care. So that is it for today's episode. If you like my rants, if you just like my style, if you like this episode, whatever, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back on Monday.